Hi, this is Dan Riley with Applied Progress. I will be doing a demo of SAP's Business by Design bill of material functionality. I'm going to do a demo that's associated with making beer, and the beer is made with a number of different ingredients which we've listed here. The beer I'm making here is a Belgian style strong golden ale. This one happens to be about 9% alcohol. Now, one of the things about beer is that you can substitute ingredients, and also use the same ingredients multiple times within your formula. So let's just take a quick look here. What I've got here is this right over here on the left. It says the line number, line item, ID. And then we'll scroll down a little bit here. Sorry, over here. And we'll see our grain malt. So line item group 10 is our grain malts. This is the first things we're going to put in. So under line item group 10, we've got 4 different ingredients here. 3 different malts, which is a grain, comes in like barley and so forth. And then we'll take those and we cook those in water for about an hour. Then after having done that, we then go through a sparge process, which is taking more water, pouring it over the grains as they come out to wash out any other additional carbohydrates and flavors out of them. Then after having done that, we then go down to our next step, which includes these items here, which is all of the sugars that are being put into the beer. Sugars, which will be eaten later by the yeast to create the alcohol. Also along here this is a hop here, a Styrian Golding's hop, and that is put in to give us bitters. So the bitter flavor comes from the hops that we put in at this point in time. You'll notice also here that we have the Styrian Gold hops right here, which is put in to give us the bitters. Later on in the process, our next step, we put in the same exact hop again, but the point here is to give us flavors. So these are flavoring hops. And then we also put in these Czech hops for flavoring. And then the last step in the process is we put in more Czech hops, but this time for aroma. So one of the things we see here is we have the same ingredient multiple times in the bill of material because it's used for different purposes. Also in the bill of material, you'll notice here that we have a fixed quantity. So what we can do here is we have something where we don't want that quantity to scale up when we scale up the formula, such as some kind of a catalyst. Then we would check off that there's a fixed quantity and that won't scale when we scale the formula. So now, this is our list right here of the different ingredients we're going to use. Now say, for example, we have a desire to use a substitute. So I can make the exact same product, this exact same Belgian style golden ale, by replacing this particular Styrian Golding hop here with something else that might be less expensive or I might have on hand, ending up with exactly the same finished product. So I can do that with Business by Design. What I'll do here is I will create an engineering change order number. This will be a new engineering change order. I'm going to call this T-200 substitute Challenger for Styrian hops, bittering hops. So we're going to substitute the Styrian hops. We're going to replace those with a Challenger hop. And what we're going to do here is we're going to put them right here. This is going to be number 30. We're going to insert it here. We're going to use 42 grams of this other hop here. So we're going to look up our hops. Use our Challenger hop. 42 grams of this. This is our engineering change order number. And now we've inserted that into the formula. So we're going to be using that in place of these 42 hops here. Now, what this is the different variant. So right now, our original formula is making this 9.1% Belgian strong ale, variant 1. We're going to add a second variant, which simply means that we have 2 different ways of making exactly the same thing. Just using different ingredients. So here we have the 9.1%, same exact beer, 5 gallons, and we're using the same specifications. Specifications identifies things such as the specific gravity and the alcohol content and so forth. Exact same specs, exact same product. Only difference being that we substituted one hop for another. And it's approved with this engineering change order number T200. Now what we do is go back to the formula here, and what we'll do now is we'll look and see. Now what we had here is this is our variant number 1, our original item that we had in there. All of a sudden appears over here variant number 2. What we do now is we go through here and we check off what ingredients are used to make this variant number 2. So I'll go check through these. Okay, so now what we can see is the difference. Everything is used the same in both these formulas except for variant formula number 1 uses the Styrian Goldings hop, and number 2, instead of that, uses the Challenger hop. Other than that, we're making exactly the same product. Go back to our first page here. We have a consistency check here that we're going to run. Everything's consistent, which means all of our input ingredients are set up properly. So this is how you can have substitutions and have completely different formulas for exactly the same finished product.